So like we were saying, yeah, I said this was goal sake. Let's do this again for sake of let's just do this. I said for goal sake, now goal sake is used to determine how many people, what number of occurrence would happen if something was to change. Now we had this we had this question, like this one for okay, let's say you're planning an event and want to invite as many people as you can without exceeding a budget of $500. We can use GoSip to figure out. This is a question in its own. So now the question is, how many people would I host comfortably with that budget of 500? Since my cost per person is around 14.230, like that. Okay, so this question now, this one is very relatable, and it says, let's say you're enrolled in a class, you currently have a grade of 65, and you need like 70 to pass the class. Meanwhile, luckily for you, just a final assignment that able to raise your average. Now, I want to raise my to 70%, but I have just one exam left, and I'm trying to look at the possible score that would make my grade skyrocket to 70%. What do I do? Or how well can I read? How well can I prepare to aim at what particular score? So this was the stuff. So let's delete this and do it again. So now I'm currently on 65. I have done all of this and I am currently on 65. I just have this left so that this can skyrocket to 70. What do I do? How do we do that? We use basic. Active analysis basic. Sorry. And we said set cell. Set cell is the cell we are planning to change. Set cell is the cell we are planning to change its value. This one now, our set cell is B7 because I am planning to change from 65% to 70%. So now that will be my set cell, the cell I am planning to change. Then my to value will be what value do I want it to be? Now I want it to be at 70% by changing what cell? By changing my final exam score. This one is currently on 0, but if I Excel will do some calculation and give me a result if I want to aim at 70 that I have specified for it. So now, yeah, by changing cell B6, so I click my OK and it calculates for me. I wait till it gets to 70 and it stops. Then I have the result. So now, meaning if I want to get 70, having done all of this before, it means I must get 90 here before this thing can go to 70%. I must score 90 in my final exam before this can go to 70%, given that I already did all of this. So that is that for the goal sake, 100 grades. And we also did one for event planning, where we said a reservation fee is just 230 and price per person is 14.5. So my budget is, remember, my budget is 500, not 230. So I want to change this 230 now to 500. And I want Excel to give me the number of guests I can comfortably host with 500. So what do I do? Same way I go to my WhatsApp analysis portfolio and set cell. The cell I want to change, which is this. I want to change my budget to 500K to value 500 rather. 500 by changing cell this one because I don't know the guests yet. Number of guests that is before. And I click my OK. So now I wait, it calculates for me. And I said I cannot invite 18.6 people. I cannot invite 18 people and half, or I should say a child is half. No. I'll just have to approximate it to maybe I squeeze it and make it 19, or I just leave it at 18. And so I know comfortably I can put 18 people comfortably for that event. Now, go to our third what if analysis. The third type of what if analysis. I would say that is data table. This one says see the results of multiple inputs at the same time. See the results of multiple inputs at the same time. And I started here that it is used to view and compare scenarios by changing input values. Unlike scenario manager, scenario manager, we were able to view all of our what's it called? We're able to view all of our scenarios at once without changing anything. Remember, we did not change, we did not change the original, but we were able to give possible scenarios. But this one now, it is calculated. This one, data table is calculated, while scenario manager is just you inputting the values you want without any form of calculation. There was no calculation in scenario manager. That's just the difference. Data table is a calculated stuff. So it is used to view and compare scenarios by changing input values and observing its impact on calculated results. So I don't know. I don't have like a file on that. I wasn't able to come up with one. But an example is, let's say, what can we use? Okay, let's use our scenario manager stuff. Is it this? Okay, wait. Yeah, for the data table now, let's say, I don't know how. Well, let me look at something. A minute, guys. Hmm. Okay, so let's say I want to make a profit of 200,000 per year months, and I want to see it for the next like 6, 7 months. Meanwhile, I don't want to change any of these people, any of these values. I don't want to change any of these values, but then I want to. Currently, I'm making 200K monthly, and I want to see for the next 7 months. If I do not change this, if I do not change these people, and this, what resulted in this now is, let me say, let's come here and say like this is what plus what will give us 200. This plus this. So this plus this. Let's just say plus this one. Okay, I have just less than 10 minutes to round this up. Yes. Now let's say I have 160,000 that I am making. I only want to derive this from that was scenario manager. And I want to see how much am I likely to make in the next coming months. I want to see for the second month, for the third month, for the fourth month, fifth month, sixth month, like that, while changing maybe my salary or the number of staffs. Now, if I'm changing the salary I am paying, if I am reducing my salary now, my income, my profit would increase. That's the benefit of data table. Now I can see all of them at once. I can see all the possible outcomes. I can see the possible profits per month at once. If I am changing my total amount of salary paid per month, I am definitely making more profits. So if I am increasing my number of staff, I would have to maybe reduce my profit would have to go down, or my profit would remain the same. Or if I had more money to the business money and I increase my staff, I would see how well my profits can increase over a period of time. So that's just like data table is like more of scenario manager, but with a calculated variable. And with that, we have types of data table where we have one variable data table and we have two variable data tables. Meaning if I am changing one value in a number of times, just one value. That is for one variable data table. And if I am changing more than one, which is at most two variables, that is just two two variable data table. Meaning if I am changing just my number of staff, that's one variable. And if I am changing my number of staff and I am changing my amount paid, that's that's two variable data table. Now, for that is that one data what if analysis. Let me see data analysis. That is that one what if analysis. Now, Power Query. I think we'll be doing dashboards and Power Query next class. So Power Query now. We have managing projects using Excel. So at the end of that will be next class. On Sunday now, I would give us a file we would work on. Together we would come up with questions we can give possible answers from that from the file. So next class, please, let's be prepared. Next class will be an interactive session. I won't be the one just talking. I think together we should be able to build a dashboard before we take on the project of building one ourselves. Even only building dashboards now, but deriving insights, giving recommendations, and visualizing to stakeholders. So together we will do one, but before we do one, we would have to work on we would have to do all of this, all of what we've done in class, we would have to do it together. So come up with questions we can answer from the data set we'll be using. So we'll do that together before we dive to creating dashboards and before we go to our personal projects. Yeah, so Power Query is more like is a cleaning tool. It's a very powerful tool actually, but embedded in Excel because we can use Power Query on Excel, we can use Power Query on even Power BI. So this is a cleaning tool embedded in Excel, and it not just cleans alone. All we've been doing with Excel, same thing. We can replicate them on Power Query. Sure. So how do I activate this Power Query? This one is just like a briefing. Since class is almost over, we'll continue proper in next class. So how do I, open my Power Query? How do I activate it and like that? Let's say I open my worksheet, and mostly it is done on new sheets instead. So for proper documentation, use a blank book. And I would have to get my data from a particular source. So I go to my data, I go to get data tab, get data from anywhere. Where do I want to get it? Maybe I have it in my file. Maybe I want to get it from a database. I want to get it from Azure. I want to get it from online service like that. But now we're working from our files and want to load an Excel workbook. So I just click on Excel. I select the file I want. So what we are doing now is opening Power Query. So I select the file I want. What file can we use? Let's think of this transaction. Coming. Okay. So let's say I'm using sales data. Yeah, let me use this. Okay. So I have to import. Now, like I said, we would open to activate Power Query, we open a blank workbook. That is a new workbook. We go to data tab, get data. We select where I am getting data from. But for this one, I'm getting data from Excel. So I just click on from file and I select Excel. We can get from file based on text, based on CSV, any kind of file type. So now, yeah, this one, I can select multiple items if I want everything in my table to show, and I can just select one. But now let's load this. Let me select this. I would have to wait. It will preview. Okay, this is what I want. Now I would click on transform because if I should load data, it would give me another thing. But I click on transform to activate my Power Query. Now we already set. This is my Power Query editor. Power Query editor. Power Query editor. Now, oh, I should have just selected the two tables. Now, like I said, all what we were doing on Excel, we can replicate it here in Power Query. So Power Query now, this angle here, my left part is where my tables will be displayed. Is where my tables will be displayed. And this one, I can actually see my steps. I can see the steps I have done. I can easily erase a particular step. I can, jump over to a step. I can see all what I have done, the processes. So yeah, this is my table. If I want to rename, it's as simple as coming to my right hand side, double clicking this, selecting what I'm like that, and rename it. Now, when I said we can delete steps, this is what I mean. But this particular one, and this one is Excel saw it as first row will determine the header, so it's already promoted the headers. But now let's demote it. Do you want to delete this particular step? I say I want to delete it. All right. Let's control. Okay, let's just go again. Because it was supposed to work. Let me close and load. Our time is going. Okay, now I am getting data from file Excel workbook, and I said social media. Here I import. I select multiple. Now I will select books multiple. Yes. Then I transform. I'm supposed to wait. It would load before I transform. So basically, that is how to load a data set into Power Query, or that is how to activate our Power Query editor, where we can now begin to promote our L. This represents regardless transform, where we can now begin to make our first row headers, change the data type, apply conditional formatting, maybe create columns and the likes like that. So that will be all for tonight because this video is off. So for tonight, we've done what-if analysis, types of what-if analysis, explaining and using them, then loading our Power Query and loading files into our Power Query. So I hope to see you guys in the next class, Sunday p.m. Grace. And till then, while doing our assessments, if you feel there's any question, there's a misunderstanding, there's an addition.